Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. 1M1M, as you know, is the first global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And in support of that mission, we do these free mentoring roundtables every week, week after week after week. This is the 355th free 1M1M roundtable, and of course we have many, many, many more as part of our premium program for members only. Those are private roundtables. The event is being recorded. You'll have a recording available on our blog as well as on our YouTube channel. If you live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter handles are at 1Mby1M and at Romana. We publish a lot of interesting stuff there. And our YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables, where you'll find recordings of all prior sessions as well as many other interesting and informational, educational, inspirational video content. These are the call-in instructions. We actually have a full roster of pitches today, so we're going to do 5 pitches, and then we are going to, do Q&A afterwards. So we do want you to participate. Of course, it's a roundtable, so we want as much participation from all of you as possible. Please turn your chat to send to all participants so that you can participate abundantly throughout the time that we're going to be here together. Some expectation setting for our presenters today. Remember, this is a working session. We are here to work with you on your business. It's a safe, forum where you can discuss your strategy, your issues, your challenges freely. And we are on your side. There's absolutely nothing that you should feel threatened about or afraid about or nervous about. It is a safe place. No one is here to judge you. It's really to help you accelerate your journey. That's all there is to it. If you disagree with my feedback, that's okay, or feedback that you get from your peer group throughout the session, that's okay. It's your venture. You will decide how you're going to proceed. Take the feedback, consider it, discard it, use it, apply it. It's really up to you. One thing you should keep in mind, and I remind this every time because we see such a disease in the startup ecosystem, not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money, and raising money does not guarantee success. So you have to keep that in mind and not be obsessed about raising money as your benchmark for success. And if you're not pitching, please participate by asking questions in the chat and weighing in and so forth. It is a roundtable after all. We're going to start with Jude Onyema from Orlando, Florida. Jude actually is a 1M1M premium member. And what he wanted to do today, besides discussing his issues, is also to ask the peer group here some feedback on what he's planning to do. So Jude, go ahead. Over to you.
Hi, Romana.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, good, good. So this is the application is called HOTransition. This is basically a discharge management software that the hospitals can use to discharge patients that were admitted to the hospital. Right now, the discharge process is highly fragmented, and we are trying to fix that process. And the fragmentation of care during discharge is also contributing to drive up like readmission rates. It's lowering the quality of care that patients receive, and that's basically what we are trying to address with this application. So we did file for a patent in February of 2017. I just put it there for information. Let's see, next slide. These are the companies that are put together to help us make the application a reality. TrueVote leads the way. they're in charge of most of the application. They're in charge of data security, technical and physical safeguards of HIPAA. Accountable is the one that does like business associate agreements and also does like HIPAA employee teaching. Then UL is the company that will be doing the meaningful use certification of the application. The meaningful use certification basically means that if hospitals use the application, they get incentives from U.S. government. There's some incentive for them to use applications that are meaningful use certified. They get some money from the government because those applications tends to improve the quality of care that patients receive. That's why the government is pushing them towards using those that are meaningful use certified. And then Amazon is the one in charge of the HIPAA compliance hosting for us. The key things we are trying to accomplish with HOTransition: one, we want to lower the all-cause readmission rates to less than 5%. Right now, the national average is about 15% for all-cause readmission rates. Also, several diseases have different readmission rates. For example, congestive heart failure, the national average for congestive heart failure right now is like 21.9%. And something like total hip arthroplasty is 4.6% national average. So when it comes to disease-specific ones, we are trying to lower them by at least 50% using this application. The next goal is length of stay, how long the patients stay in the hospital. They can average anywhere from like 5 to sometimes even 14 days. Sometimes patients stay 100 days in the hospital, but typically around 5 days, 10 days. And we are trying to help the hospital cut that down by 25%. The throughput has to do with how efficiently patients are moving through the hospital, how many discharges they are doing daily, how many beds are occupied, how many beds are empty. We're also trying to help them increase their throughput by 25%. These can mainly be accomplished by closing several gaps in patient care. For example, one of the biggest, actually the main root cause for high readmission rates, the actual root cause is the presence of several gaps in patient care. There are several reasons why patients get readmitted to hospitals, which I will show in the next slide. But really, when you get down to the root cause, it's mainly because of those several gaps that are present in patient care. And what we are trying to do with this software is to plug all those gaps in patient care. And on the
what are
next
the gaps
slide,
in patient care that you can solve with the IT system? It seems like there's gaps in patient care are handled by nurses and, you know.
Yeah, that's a good question. For example, when a patient leaves the hospital, it's very difficult for them to communicate with their providers. You know, the patient just leaves the hospital, they need something, they have a question, they try to call the primary care physician, they can't get hold of them. If it's a surgery question, they try to call the surgeon, they can't get hold of them.
Yes.
You know, they try to call the pharmacy. Those issues we try to solve with the system, and to have everybody together in that system where it's very easy. If a patient leaves the hospital, they're no longer going to feel like they're alone. If for some reason they receive a prescription and they can't afford the copay, or they lost their prescription or whatever reason, it's easy for them to notify the hospital, notify the provider to get them to get that issue resolved. So that's what I mean by gaps in care. Sometimes another gap there could be just like example for which some of those gaps I try to mention in these reasons for readmission. Big one that I'm already discussing being like poor communication with the outpatient team. For example, sometimes a patient gets admitted to the hospital and the primary care physician doesn't even know the patient was admitted to the hospital. And patient get discharged, the primary care physician don't even know the patient get discharged from the hospital. Sometimes when patient leaves the hospital, there are some labs that need to be followed up on after they left the hospital, and nobody follows up on it, and then suddenly patient gets sicker maybe 7 days after they left the hospital and come back to the hospital. And that's when the hospital discovers that, that lab was critical and it wasn't addressed, and that's probably the main reason why they got sicker and got readmitted. So all those things which we are trying to improve with the HOTransition software. Inadequate patient education plays a big role. Sometimes patients say, nobody told me this. Sometimes somebody tells them, but then they tell them when they're after the patient, for example, if the patient just received morphine, you can do all the education at once. They're not going to remember any of that. Maybe the person doing the education wasn't aware that the nurse just gave the patient some morphine. So and there's really no easy way for patients to easily review what they are being told. And we're also trying to fix that in the system. If patient was something and when they are more alert, they can look into HOTransition and see what information was put in there for them. They can easily review it, and it makes it easier for them. Poverty plays a big role. In the interest of time, I won't go into too much details on
let's move on.
But these are several of the reasons, medication discrepancies. So these are most of the reasons and the gaps that we are trying to plug with the software. This is the welcome page of the software. As far as how it works, I can say more about how it works. Basically, the hospital controls the system just to keep fraud low. So the hospital creates an account, and then they have to add their providers, and they have to add the patients. If they don't add those, they're not going to be a part of the system. That way, we don't get too many fraudulent accounts being created. And once the hospital adds a patient, then the application begins to follow the patient upon admission to the hospital, and the application continues to follow the patient up to like 36 days after they left the hospital. If for some reason the hospital wants the application to continue following the patient after 36 days, then they can indicate they are using extended monitoring. But so now the patient is no longer alone after they leave the hospital. They have a tool that they can easily use to communicate with the hospital, communicate with the providers, get information. And right now, the way it is, patient leaves the hospital and they're on their own. That's the way it's currently, the system currently works. On the next slide shows a hospital link. I used the mobile app images here. Maybe I should have used a bigger image. Okay, yeah, but this basically shows some of the hospital links where they can add new patient, add new provider, add other sub-administrators, secure messaging. The alerts is where, for example, if patient is not taking their medication, if the patient, maybe a patient needed like a wheelchair delivered, that hasn't happened, all those things are designed to show up as alerts. And once it comes under alert, it goes to the hospital, goes to the providers, and that has to be addressed before somebody can turn off the alert. So like the case managers get that information, they call the patient, get that taken care of, then they can turn off the alert. But it's an easy way to make everybody aware of what's happening with the patient after they left the hospital. And all those things are, because those things are not being addressed efficiently, that's part of why patients, because patients keeps getting readmitted too frequently. Because, for example, patient can get a prescription, they can't fill it, they say, well, it's too expensive, they don't take it, then 5 days later, they got sicker because they weren't taking that medication, then they show up in the ED again. But if that was communicated appropriately, a lot of times we can get them like subsidies or some kind of help with the situation. But right now, they don't have that help. So let's see, they can also report issues. Okay, this shows the provider's link, similar to the other link, but it has, the providers can go in and sign the transition. The referral manager is also very big with efficiency because it helps like the case managers. Right now, the way it works, the case managers go and send when, for example, if the patient is leaving the hospital and going to a nursing home, then they have to send a referral to nursing homes to see which nursing home will accept the patient. Right now, they typically do that using a fax machine, and when you have like 20 pages to fax, they typically send referral to 1 or 2 nursing homes, and then they wait. Then a lot of times the next day, the 2 nursing homes might say, okay, we don't have any beds available, we can accept the patient, and then the patient stays in the hospital another day, and they have to maybe fax it to another 2 more places. But using this referral manager, they can take picture of those documents. Once they have this, they might spend like 5 minutes taking picture of those documents, but once they have it there, they can send it to 20 nursing homes, 30 nursing homes if they want. Chances are they're going to get a yes probably within an hour of sending those, because those things are causing delay in discharging patients from hospital. Sometimes patients are waiting days to find a place that will accept them, because when they send out the referral, they send out 1 or 2 or 3, and if those 3 decline, then they come back the next day to try to do it all over again. So it plays a big role in efficiency for the hospital. And the next slide shows the patient links. One of the big difference on this patient link is the transition progress. The transition progress helps the patient a lot and helps the physician as well. For the patient, you can now see, if you're a patient in the hospital, you can now see how much paperwork has been done to get you ready to go home, and also how much of your needs has been taken care of to get you ready to go home. So you are no longer just wondering what's happening in the hospital. So now if he says like 50%, 80%, 90% done, like if he says 90% completed, that means all your needs have been taken care of, most of your paperwork has been done, and you're almost ready to go home. Because most of these laws are also tied, laws and needs are also tied to this transition progress. For the doctors, this transition progress helps them in several ways. For example, it tells them which patients are, how the patients are getting ready for discharge, and also which patients to discharge first from the hospital. The ones we have a criteria that incorporates the transition progress, like if when a doctor comes in the morning, he shows them a list of patients that they can easily discharge from the hospital. That way, it helps the doctors organize better.
So, Jude, you wanted to ask questions from the audience here. What is that question?
So basically, for the audience, I wanted to get more like a patient's perspective from the audience. If the patient in the hospital, would they feel comfortable using it? Would they find this such a device, such an application helpful for them to follow their hospitalization progress? If you get admitted to the hospital, would you like to use such an application to keep track of what's happening to you while you're in the hospital?
So audience, if you could please respond in public chat to what Jude is asking, is that would you use an app to, well, those of you who have had hospitalizations in your family or yourselves or whatever, if you have experience and if you can you talk to that experience and how you manage the post-hospitalization situation, the instructions on what happens after hospitalization, and how do you keep track of things, how do you keep communicating with the care providers who have the information.
Sorry, and this application, it can also be used, like if you have a family member who can communicate and is in the hospital, you can also have access to this and help communicate with them. You don't have to be in the hospital, but you can easily communicate with the nurses about what your family member needs using this application.
Right. So Andy Ragone is asking this question: would the patient benefit more, or the family? If I'm sick, is this more stress? Well, I think that's absolutely right. It's not the patient who would necessarily be using this. It has to be architected such that the family can access the information and so forth, right?
Exactly. If the patient is too sick to use the device, there's a section that gives access to like a caregiver. Caregiver will have access to it, and the caregiver will be putting information for the patient. Like there's a need section there. The caregiver can, they don't even have to be in the hospital. They can say, okay, I want you guys to give the patient a coffee. The patient will need a wheelchair when the patient goes home. So they can enter the need there, and the nurses will take care of it.
So Jude, Maureen says, I can totally relate to sitting in the hospital and wondering what is happening, have no clue where you are in the process. Ken Anderson is saying, I would especially use this app in non-traditional care situations such as nursing homes. And Himanshu Kumar is saying, length of stay is sometimes driven by how much money the hospital wants to make from you.
I can start with the most recent comments, the length of stay. Yeah, sometimes it's driven by that, but it goes both ways, because if the hospital rush a length of stay, it backfires on them, because those patients are more likely to get readmitted frequently. So it backfires. They actually lose money if they have a premature discharge. So the hospitals know to strike a balance between discharging people too early or too late. And, for one, you have to make sure the patient is clinically ready to leave the hospital. But just because the patient is clinically ready to be discharged doesn't mean they are ready to be discharged. That's what the hospitals are realizing now, because it's like the doctor thinks the patient is clinically ready to be discharged and then discharges the patient gets home, and guess what? Their oxygen tank wasn't delivered. Well, if their oxygen tank wasn't delivered and they just have a small tank that will last a day or so, or 2 days, they're going to be back in the hospital. So now part of what HOTransition is trying to do is telling the doctors that, yes, the patient is maybe clinically ready to be discharged, but look at other things that hasn't happened yet. So it helps guide a doctor to make a decision that this patient is actually ready to leave the hospital more efficiently, and that way they don't rush the length of stay.
So Sanj Nandi says, I definitely see value in the seamless communication process. Is there any privacy concern? Well, I think the privacy concern can be managed. How you architect the app will be able to manage the privacy concern. Only the authorized caregivers can access the data.
Exactly. And it's HIPAA compliant. Like I mentioned, TrueVote is in charge of all the security and privacy of the application. So that is being addressed.
You can continue talking to people in the public chat. I'm going to need to move to the next presenter, but you're welcome to continue to converse with all the people who have listened to your presentation and get their feedback further.
Okay.
So we are going to Andy Ragone next. Andy, please unmute your line.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Shramana.
How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for the opportunity.
My pleasure.
You can go to the second, please. So that's me on the left, not the right. I'm currently and still practicing measurement science and engineering with this business after 35 years in DuPont. And I do believe in the mantra that Lord Kelvin said, to measure is to know. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. And also Edward Deming, a famous statistician, said that you have to make better, you have to measure, to make better, you have to measure better. So anyway, our mission is we're a biotechnology enterprise supporting improved sustainable agricultural yields through early warning detection of abiotic plant stress. So that's optical detection of plants' health, basically. And our value proposition is to increase the small farm, urban, and or organic productivity anywhere from 5 to 50%. There's a huge opportunity out there in all these sectors. We're going to support it in a way that allows us to employ, to increase quality control, yields, and reduce the costs of the current applications that are out there. It's rapid optical inspection services, basically 10 seconds and you're done per plant or per sector. The other thing is this allows the user to be able to prevent preventive action, so you can see the defects days or hours before they manifest themselves in a damaging way, or defect mitigation. Once you find it, you can treat it. And next slide. So my experience is with 35 years in DuPont, 20 years as science leader in engineering and R&D. I've developed many analyzers in biotech that have improved R&D, quality control, and productivity. It's basically about this, the bottom line is this, measurable, sustainable improvement in quality and yields, and that has been on average 30% throughout that career. I'm also involved in STEM education, the support of ag biotech. And while I'm at it, I just want to refer to some partners that I have. This, by the way, is an entirely bootstrapped operation. These are the current facilities. They're in my house. I own over $100,000 worth of measurement equipment, including materials that I used at DuPont. So if you would skip to page 7, Sramana.
Your page numbering is not going to match mine because we have all the slides in one slide deck. So you have to tell me when to stop. I'll just keep advancing until you tell me when to stop.
Okay, keep advancing. Right there. Back up, please. Sorry. So I just want to point out, while I'm bootstrapped, I do have strategic partnerships with the University of Chicago, a corporation in Denmark that makes videometric devices that I've employed, and who's working with me to develop new instrumentation. Denmark Technical University and a company out in California that does a lot of measurement systems for the NASA, and we're using all their technologies. I'd also like to point out we have that work with me here in Delaware a world-class plant geneticist named Ted Klein, a couple of engineers and physicists, Jim McCambridge, a national a government research scientist who works on atmospherics, gas atmospherics, and so on, and another entrepreneur interested in helping this business go forward. So what I'm looking for, if we can go back up a slide, one more, sorry. I might mention I've been to Chicago twice this year, as well as Denmark twice, and going back 2 or 3 more times to each place as we do this development path. So I think in the business idea, while we're enabling the grower and the user to optimize productivity using our technologies for rapid fingerprinting, I think the Million by Million program gives us an opportunity to develop new skills, especially identifying which of the, I'll call them diverse markets in agriculture and horticulture, and really learn the skills to better communicate. So I have plenty of gaps of my own that I can fill before, certainly I help them fill their own gaps. And again, a market need, there's urban, organic, and small farm, and the crop types will be determined, but there are certainly plentiful ones in vegetable and other areas. Basically, this is about increasing crop performance, yields, and output, tonnage, whatever they measure.
So do you have any validation with your technology as it applies to any farm? Are you working with any farm?
Yes. Well, I've done several voices of customers. I have farmers actually in the same county here in Delaware where I'm located who are very interested in this technology. And they've agreed to work with me to help, the initial validation of the technology. It is also technology which I've been able to acquire IP from DuPont for, in which I was able to, we actually deployed some of the methods that I'm speaking about here today in agricultural situations and met with farmers in Iowa. And they're all for a rapid early warning system. So, yeah,
so how far are you from being able to, so this farm that you have talked to who wants to use your technology, how far are you from being able to do a pilot with them?
We're weeks away, but I think on a strategic basis, we're going to wait until July because we're waiting for another piece of equipment, quite frankly. But I am ready with the equipment now, and actually the gardens that I showed you in the earlier slide, I'm already running pilot programs here at home, making measurements on live plants in the basement as well as out in the garden.
And are you, I understand that you're from Delaware, one of Ken Anderson's referrals. Are you already in the 1M1M program, or are you applying to be in the program?
Applying.
Applying, okay, got it. Okay.
So I see high value in your program because I will be, use the skills of your folks to better understand the total market availability here. And, not just Delaware, but Delaware is a small state, but we have certainly the region around it, as well as some organic farmers as far away as Vancouver who are interested. Basically, this time period this year, I want to be able to monetize. I want to commercialize through the pilot programs as well as, seeing, measuring the value directly with what we have to deliver. Also looking at, and I'm applying now for R&D funding, grants through National Science Foundation, USDA, but also looking at environmental health advocates such as Tom Steyer, who's a strong proponent of the science of climate change, and the Gates Foundation, who are also pushing better health through nutrition and so on. And as well as, further outreach here in Delaware. I've been here a total of 24 years, so I know a fair number of people, and a lot of my network has been incredibly helpful getting me started just through all the different activities in ag and construction even. So, okay?
How much are you going to charge, like each of these farms that you do pilots for? Is it going to be a paid pilot?
I think it'll be a kind of we both have skin in the game. I will give them the services at a discount while we develop this, but I'm trying to get these grants to really offset their costs and basically get people in the staff paid. So
the 1 million by 1 million program is very heavily focused on getting customers to pay as quickly as possible. Just be aware of that as you are applying for this program. That is our methodology.
I fully agree. I want to monetize quickly through validation trials. Okay. So a little bit more on me. So I've been around a while. Been here twice, moving with DuPont, and now I'm stuck. I'm also have invested quite a bit of my own money, as I said in the earlier slides, continuing with capital equipment acquisition funding. We're licensed, pursuing trademarks. We have a strong biotech network that I think will serve us well. And also, Delaware has a huge amount of scientific and business talent, I think, as you well know. So I'm quite fortunate in many ways to be in this position to be able to ask to work with you guys.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Ken will get back to you on, Ken is the final decision maker on the Delaware scholarships. So I've listened to your pitch now. I'm sure Ken is listening as well. He's in the room. And I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk, and Ken will let you know. And if you do get a scholarship, I would look forward to working with you. So folks, those of you who are listening, just to give you the context, we have 1 million by 1 million has a partnership with the Delaware Economic Development Office. And Delaware basically gives scholarships to the 1M1M program to entrepreneurs as part of their economic development agenda. And Andy has applied to that program, and that's what we're talking about here. Well, good luck, Andy.
Thanks, Sherman. I really appreciate it. It's just some backup slides. But
okay.
We're better than the other guys. Let's put it that way. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are moving to Nikkitha Shanker from Bangalore, India. Nikkitha, please unmute your line and tell us what you're working on.
Hello, Shamana. Hope you're doing good.
Hello.
And a big hello to all the fellow panelists and attendees. Thank you for the opportunity. So I am here to talk about shopray.com. It's my venture with my friend Saya. So we'll just quickly get into I'm an electrical engineer from National Institute of Technology. So we've just started off with this for the past 1 month, so it's pretty new. So what we do is our Shopray is an online platform which allows anyone residing outside India to shop from any online Indian portal. And how we do this is by providing a free Indian shipping address and a personal locker in Bangalore. So this is a very brief idea. So in the next 2 slides, what I intend to do or take you guys through is the customer pain points and a small survey we did. So clubbing these two, and then next I'll tell you about why we are doing this. So firstly, customer pain points. So Indians usually residing outside India, currently they do not have access to e-commerce companies in India. Most of the websites do not provide international shipments. Now, even if they do, they provide the shipments at extremely high rates. Thirdly, Indian products like clothing, jewelry, ethnic handicrafts, etc., are very expensive abroad, and they're limited in variety and quality. So, and finally, many of the websites within India do not allow the usage of international credit and debit cards. So these are some of the customer pain points that we are addressing. And if you go to the next slide, I'll just, this is a small survey that we had taken of around 50 people, and across different countries, maybe 17 countries, around 440 of them were Indians, and around 10 we managed non-Indians. So this is from our limited, infrastructure that we had. So the first question was, how often do you wear Indian products or use Indian products or brands? So if you see, around 65% of the people came up with the answer which matched very often or often. So that's a very large pool of Indians who are residing outside India, saying that they, use our Indian products very often or often. The next thing was, how often do you shop from Indian e-commerce? And there again, we had around 60% of the people saying it's either bi-weekly, monthly, or quarterly, and half-yearly. So that's a very large, percentage again. And third question was, how do you get a variety of Indian products in your locality? And that's 75% of people saying either it's too expensive, they do get it, but it's too expensive, and some saying not really, a product variety is not much, and some saying no, there are hardly any Indian products anywhere where I stay. So of course there's a small percentage which says yes, I'm always finding what I want. And the next thing was, are you aware that most of the Indian stuff in India are cheaper? And around 78 to 80% of people said that yes, they are aware of that. Can you just go to the next slide? Yeah. So how are these people managing the delivery currently? So most of it is through the courier, which is very expensive if you are a walk-in customer to most of the courier companies. And then there are another pool of people which says through the friends and families, so they have to wait for somebody to come over to bring it over or things like that. And then there's another set which says we take it when I visit India. So this is the scenario, and if you see, most of the people who, then we also checked, what are the things that they would love to buy from India. Around 79, that's 80% of people saying it's clothing, and that's specifically the wedding industry, the dance, music industry. That's the area that they're targeting. Then there is around 50%, 45% saying household items, 43% saying handicrafts, and 43% saying books.
Got it. Let's move on, Nikkitha. I have a bunch of questions. How is this?
Sure. Yeah.
You mentioned about credit cards. Who's going to, hold on, I'm just going to
exactly.
speed things up a little bit. We have 6 minutes.
Yeah. Sure. So there are 3 problems and solutions that we are providing. The first is that there's no international delivery. So what we do is that we provide a free Indian shipping address and a personal locker. They can use this address to shop from any Indian online portal, and they can store the items in the locker for 20 days. So wait for the items from various platforms to come, and we will consolidate the items and ship it across to them. So thereby they can save on the shipping costs largely. Okay. And the second thing is the international credit cards not being accepted in most of the websites. So what we are planning to do is that if they share the link with us, the item that they want to buy, and we will purchase it for them with our local credit card, and they can transfer the money to us, because we'll have on our website we'll be having a international payment gateway. And the third thing is, most of the people did not know where to shop from, and so we'll have a ShopRay guide which will say these are the 50 stores across 22 categories, the top. So you can rely these, you can shop from these places. So these are the three things that we are doing. Yeah. The next is the revenue model. So ShopRay, we have customers and sellers. Now, customers who are global customers are customers outside India. Now they can shop from India, and then there are customers in India who can gift their dear and near ones abroad. Now, in case of sellers, there are global sellers, for example, in the USA, UAE, etc., who source products from India. So they can use ShopRay as a hub. They can use this as a locker. We'll manage their inventory, we'll store their items, and probably directly ship it to their customers in different parts of the world, so they don't have to limit to one particular location abroad. Then there are sellers within India who probably have only 2 or 3 shipments abroad, so that way they have to pay a hell lot for the courier charges. So if they tie up with us, we give them the benefit of excellent shipping rates abroad. So this is our revenue model.
What is your revenue model? This is not your revenue model. What is your revenue model? How do you make money?
Yeah, so from the customers, the consolidation, the shipping charges, the consolidation charges.
So you charge the customers a fee for handling their whole shipment?
Yes. Yes, exactly. So there are different charges that are, yeah, that's all. So the development so far, so it's just been 45 days since we started. That's just through Facebook, because our website is under development, and we've got around 666 people subscribed to our teaser page on www.shopray.com, and we've got around 5,254 likes on Facebook, and we've done around 30 shipments, international shipments. This is the last week data, so we've done a bit more than this. 29 to around 34 shipments have already been completed so far, and yeah, the average, the number of
customers. And what does that mean? What is the average transaction fee for you?
The margin is on the shipment cost. As of now, we are not charging them on the consolidation or things like that, because that requires the website to be up and things like that. Right now, we're just charging them on the shipping cost. So
you are not making any revenue yet?
Yes, we are, because we are tying up with DHL, etc. So we put a margin over and above that. That's around 30%.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So right now, yeah, scalability is India has the largest diaspora outside India, in the world, and USA, Saudi, Malaysia, UAE, these are the top countries in RI population. And e-commerce market in India is set to grow fastest within Asia.
But none of those are relevant. E-commerce market in India is not relevant for this. What you're looking for is the cross-border e-commerce between the diaspora and India. That's what really what you're enabling.
E-commerce is growing at a very good level. That can,
but Indian e-commerce is not. Indian e-commerce is not relevant here. You're not doing Indian e-commerce. That's my point.
Okay.
You're doing cross-border e-commerce between the diaspora and shopping from India.
Right.
I like what you're doing. I think this is a very interesting take on cross-border e-commerce, and I think there's definitely a group of people who are going to be interested in what you're offering. So.
Okay. Thank you. These are just a couple of questions, because since we are pretty much in the basic stage, what are your suggestions? Any improvements you see in any of the slides? Anything that struck you, or things like
what
that.
What you should try to get to are, these groups, ethnic groups in different communities, and work with them with products that they covet, specifically stuff that they are looking for. and that could be films in their ethnic languages, whether it's Tamil films or Bengali films or whatever, and specific to that community that you cannot get in the stores here. You know, there are Indian grocery stores everywhere where you can get a lot of stuff, but then there are very specific, very ethnic stuff that they don't get, so you can work with a Tamil community.
I got a request from Singapore asking if we would be delivering Indian mangoes, because he was looking for mangoes from India.
But that's harder for you to deliver, right? If it's perishable goods, that's a much more complex.
But DHL is having a wing for mangoes during the monsoon, so the packaging is a bit different, but they do have the delivery.
I see. Okay. Well, in any case, my take would be to focus on these, ethnic communities, and then you get a lot of word of mouth. You know, if you can get a few customers from a particular ethnic community, you get tremendous word of mouth. Everybody's going to talk about it, and so on and so forth. And that's one way to do it. And then, of course, you use your social media marketing. Using that, like you get these people engaged in your social media marketing, and you get them to refer and propagate and so forth. So it's a combination of social media marketing and these targeting influencers and targeting kind of communities, specific communities and areas. So that's my marketing strategy answer. And then I don't know what your profit margin is. I have to look at your financials and your business model. I can't really comment on the profit margin question without looking at any of that.
Sure.
Improve your revenue model right now. Get a revenue model going. Get revenues going. Get enough customers and enough revenues going. Get your service charges flowing and so forth. And then, once you have critical mass, then we'll worry about improving.
What should we be concentrating on? Should we look at getting more customers with less profit, or more profit and less customers?
You should get as many, you should get customers who are big repeat buyers.
Okay.
Because acquiring customers is expensive, and once you acquire a customer, if that customer does a lot of repeat buying on your site, that would be the best way for you to make money.
Okay, fine.
So I like what you're doing. I think there are things that I would be interested in buying through your site, and so I can see the value proposition of what you're talking about.
Sure. Thank you so much for the time.
You're very welcome. Good work. All right. Himanshu Kumar from Noida, India. You're up next.
Hi, Shravana. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're most welcome.
Hello?
Go ahead, Himanshu. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it's just an idea as of now. The idea is to create a platform for candidates to, request and get interviewed, and then get rated by revered professionals in their domain or in the industry, and, create a pool of rated candidates for recruiters to bid for. And recruiters not only bid for the candidate, but they also, bid for what they can offer to the candidate. So, and some of the pain points that I have seen is, the people's efforts are not do not get recognized properly. In the sense, sometimes managers say you have links in your head office, and that is how you get, a lot of application emails when appraisals go on. And switching to a new skill is difficult, because people are asked for a lot of experience in any particular, technology. And, like that, there are many reasons the candidates face. So these are some of the pain points that I have seen. And next slide, please. So far, validating the concept goes, there are already, platforms available which offer the mock interview service. It's, they offer paid mock interview service. It's not, free. So they charge like $100 to $200 for one interview with one expert. And to validate further, I tried to mail a few leaders and experts to find out if they would be really interested to devote some time, some of their time to interview the candidate and rate them for their skills. So if you can.
An interesting idea. Okay.
Yeah. So the challenge that I'm facing is like I got response from only one leader, and he said yes, he would be ready to talk to people. And I mailed around 20 top university professors, but I really did not get any response. So I want your feedback, like what do you think of the idea, and if the experts would really be willing to spend some time interviewing
So
people.
what I find interesting in your idea is it's kind of like you're creating a personal, what you're proposing to create is a bit of a personal branding kind of opportunity for the interviewees. So
yes.
In a way, instead of sending a resume around to be considered for a job, you're saying that the interviewee or the candidate invest in creating this more dynamic portal, maybe on your site, where there are video interviews with experts about their expertise and about their, who they are and so forth, and you are going to charge these people to create this process, and then you're turning around and saying that you're going to create a panel of interviewers who are experts, who are qualified to interview them. And that's the part that you're having difficulty with. I like the value proposition. I like the value proposition to interviewees. I think what you're getting stuck on is whether experts are willing to do that. They will only be willing to do that if you pay them. I don't think people have time to interview thousands of people unless there is something in it for them. So you're going to need to create a business model that takes into account that you're going to find experts who are capable of doing good interviews on camera.
Okay.
And create create all the interviews and upload them on YouTube and so forth, this whole process for a fee, and then some of that you're going to have to share with the people who are going to do the interviewing for you. You're going to have to compensate the interviewers. That is the only way this will work, but I like your idea.
But for top experts, but for top experts, what can we really offer? I mean, I think
top experts are not going to do it.
Okay.
If you ask me to do it, I'm not going to do it. I don't have the time to do it. So what you're going to get are mid-level people, but who could be subject matter experts. You could get people who have deep expertise in a programming language, and you're asking them to, and they're good on camera. You have to find people who are good on camera and who are good interviewers and so forth. And then you have to build such relationships. You have to find a bunch of people with that kind of, that kind of capability, and build those relationships who will do for a fee these kinds of interviews.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Keep working on the concept. I think it's actually got legs. Your concept has legs.
Thanks, Ramana. Thanks.
You're very welcome. Good luck. Vinod Kumar, you're up next, and you are.
Hello.
Hi, Vinod.
Hello, madam. Yes, madam. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, and you're from Chennai.
Yes, madam. How are you, madam?
Go ahead.
Yes, madam. Madam, we are developing a mobile application for e-commerce site.
Okay.
It's done for e-wallet. It's using for e-commerce, like mobile games and online shopping. First e-commerce, next slide, madam. Next slide. Next one, madam.
You want to move further?
Hello? Yes, madam.
What I have up is a fundraise slide. You're starting with a fundraise slide. What do you have?
No, madam. No, madam. Just a minute, madam. Actually, this is first time I'm in campaigning. That's a success. It's very. Yes, madam. Just a minute, madam. This is my project, madam. We have done for cashless transaction all over India in merchants, all shopping, hospitals, like transport facilities, and almost cashless. Where we are using debit card and credit card, that place we are using our applications. That is cashless transaction, madam. And bill payment for all mobile recharge, DTH, public useful daily mobile users, EB bills, and DTH recharge, like some other additional payment also is done by our application. Second, fund transfer will wallet to wallet. That means of our application will be payment sent to our wallet to another wallet. It's same wallet. Next thing is wallet to bank. Bank, that means we have the wallet, fund will be there. I want to transfer my account. So if it's possible to bank account also is available from wallet to bank. And second thing, merchant app, it's all like a company. You will pay the bills. There have some QR code. Will payment for that QR code. The wallet will be correct and send to payment to bank. That fund transfer only little problem for us. Means we need to PBI license from RBI. Right now we are not got from them. It will take 45 days. So it's old. Online game is like our application will be all people will use. That's why we are switching that game, madam. And news advertisements. It's
do people pay for news in India?
Yes, no, madam. Just add. We are not able. Just people will be use our applications all the way. That's why we are input for the news, daily news, madam. Getting news from all the TV channels and so like we make and show that only just news. Advertisement only pay for that. When you are using this 15-minute slide in the advertisement, they're getting some of amount. That amount will be sharing. Who will give the advertisement? That pays for amount. We are sharing from 50% of the customers and 50% of ours. That's like AdSense. Online shopping and online shopping is we are typing and top companies like Amazon, Flipkart, some top 10 companies type with him. Right now they are giving some commissions. Each product will be by they are giving some commissions around 5 to 8%. That amount will be our charges, madam. Now India is a demonetization. Nobody can people can use in the cash. That's why we are. The application is market, and our application use is no need any debit and credit cards in anywhere. And second thing, sometimes network will not available in the debit card. Sometimes your card is not, you will bring it. No worry about it. You can use our application all the shops, but yes, madam. And cost effective, time saving. We are chargeable is very less, madam. Around under RBI now. Yes, madam.
Do you already have a business running, or is this all at the concept level?
Madam, now it's application developing stage, madam. We are launched only October.
I see. Okay.
Okay, madam. And then we have in 37 states, madam. So we are focusing for all the state languages. Most of the applications will only for educated people only using because it's English. Low level people cannot be used for all applications, but they have the mobiles. We are focusing for that. So all village peoples will be minimum 10th standard qualified peoples will be used our application. That's why we are focusing the state language, like around 80 languages there, but we are planned for 7 languages. And then second thing, we are giving slide just a demo for what we do. That is corner with slide will available. The people's using slide shows. And then this is the market trajectory, madam. If example not very exact is the example, madam. If we are our target is 2 million people for 6 months. It's very just our population is very high, but it's very simple calculation. Fund transfer and bill payment. It's 5 lakh people per day giving 2 rupees. That means 100 rupees will be transferred. They are giving 2 rupees for service charge. That amount will be per day. That amount monthly and yearly, madam. Recharge means we are using the credit limit for the mobile phones. 3 lakh minimum 3 lakh people using per day. They recharge 100 rupees. They pay 1%. Actually, it's not 1%. They are giving a concerned company giving for the 3 to 4%. I will example for this. It's minimum amount for 1%. That amount will be here. Another one is shopping, madam. If you purchase any one item, you will got from the company. So like Amazon, you purchase one thing from our site, they are giving 5% commission for us. Each and every one product will be commission based. Depend on the product, not only exactly amount. So that's why we are only for 2%. This is market size, madam. This is population, and you know Indian market size, madam. Explain that. Total population is there. Mobile users, we are planned for first year. We are beginning, so and young. So we are planned for 1.5 million people in 6 months begin time. Next slide, madam. Hello, madam. Madam, we are
so
getting
I actually have a different question. I know you want to go on with your presentation, but let me actually get to the heart of the matter. You are planning to finish your application development in October.
Yes, madam.
And what language is this, the first version of the product going to be? What language do you support?
English, madam.
But you just said that you're doing ethnic languages, then that's your main differentiator.
Yes, madam. First language is English. Second language, which state people using that languages, they are once we will download application, they select the language. That language will be working on all application.
So are you launching in English? Launching this product in English?
Yes, madam.
So what is the plan to launch this, and what, because you started the presentation by saying that you want to raise $3 million. I don't think you can do that.
Yes,
you know, without putting something out there and showing some, you know, validation, some traction, I don't think you will be able to raise $3 million. So my question is, how do you plan to bootstrap this to launch and transactions and so forth? Do you have a plan?
I don't understand, madam. Hello.
Yes.
Madam, this is business model, madam.
Yeah.
Yes, madam. We are customers with our application will transfer the amount from enter the. This is also business model, sir. That's not business. This is unique. If we are, what is the difference another my competitor and ours?
So my question is very different. My question is, you are now in June of 2017. July, yes. August, September, October, you have basically 5 months, and you plan to launch this product. Can you finance the launch of this? Can you finance this application building? And then what is your game plan to launch this in a bootstrap mode? Because I don't think you're in a financeable state right now.
Yes, madam.
Your first slide was you want to raise $3 million for 25% equity. You can't do that.
Yes, madam. Firstly, actually, I am not input for that slide, madam. This is first time I am making for that slide. My slide is not input anywhere in that money. I am showing this is the application for us. Yesterday, I am showing one example Google search that have and the slide will have. First, we will input our what is our requirement. That's why I am input. That slide is empty, madam.
Okay, so now here you have marketing plans, right? Hoardings and advertisements, newspaper advertisements. How are you going to finance all this?
Madam, right now we have some amount for launching, madam. Launching period is no problem for us. They need getting from RBI license. RBI license getting if need to deposit amount. Some of first thing. Second, in merchant application, we need QR code and we are creating cards. So all over India, most shop is there. So we will reach for each and every shop and give it to the QR codes. So
that is not the point. The question I'm asking is, how are you going to finance your own business? How are you going to acquire customers? These points you're making, you're going to do hoardings, advertisements, newspaper advertisements. Where is the money going to come from to do all this?
But it comes from the customers, madam.
You have to acquire the customers. It costs money to acquire customers.
Yes, madam. Madam, from beginning we have spent the amount for the advertisement. That is no, madam. When you launch the application, after that only customers will come. That money after only we will get. So before we will launch the applications, we need to money for launching and advertisement. Maximum, if we are launching in October, 1 month before will be advertised.
And how are you going to, who's going to pay for those advertisements?
Now we'll plan for our own money.
Be very careful because you can end up wasting a tremendous amount of money. One, advertisements are expensive and they don't necessarily convert. So you're going to need to learn online marketing in a big way, mobile marketing especially in this case, so that you can do this on a shoestring. You can do a launch on a shoestring that gets you to some level of validation, and you have a tremendous amount of work to do to understand and both learn online marketing as well as figure out a strategy that makes sense. This marketing plan you have over here makes no sense at all.
Okay.
So just be careful that you don't burn a huge amount of your own personal money just out of plain ignorance.
Okay. Sure, madam.
You have a lot of learning to do.
Okay. Sure.
You plan to reach in 2 years 40% of the people in India. That is the most absurd goal. Again, it's born out of your inexperience and naivety. You don't reach 40% of the people of India with an app like this. I mean, where is the marketing strategy to do something like that?
Okay.
So this is what you're presenting here is a lot of fantasy, and it appears extremely naive. So I really strongly advise you to really learn what entrepreneurship is all about, what bringing a product to market is all about, and what it takes to do that. And you have a lot of learning to do.
Okay, madam. Sure.
Okay. All right, folks, I'm going to give you you're very welcome. I'm going to give you a little bit of pointers into how to use 1 million by 1 million in your learning process. Before we do that, though, I want to request you to send us serious entrepreneurs who are looking for help. We are looking for people who are really committed to building serious businesses. And that's really what this platform is about. It takes a long time to build a serious business, a real, sustainable, robust business. It takes a long time and a tremendous amount of energy, commitment, and hard work. And those are the kinds of entrepreneurs, the ones who are willing to put in that kind of work, are the ones that we want to work with. And for you who are willing to put in that kind of work, we have a whole host of resources that you can take advantage of at different levels of intensity. On our website at 1Mby1M.com, you'll find a ton of resources, and a lot of them are free. The blog is free. If you just read the blog extensively, you'll learn a lot through that process. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is another good place to engage with our methodology. There are 12 volumes of case study-based books, 12 to 16 case studies each. All of them are available on Amazon, and some are available elsewhere as well. These roundtables happen every week. You can keep coming back to them and engage both from learning from the case studies that we're doing here, as well as from the peer group, conversing with the peer group, etc. Our full acceleration program is 1M1M Premium, where we offer you extensive methodology guidance. We have a full online curriculum that is video lectures and case study based that you can use to learn on your own time the methodology and the pedagogy of entrepreneurship, and then get project-based consulting in roundtables like this, but we have private versions of these for our members only. We help you with business development. We also help you with financing, including diagnostic of whether you're fundable or not, what would make you fundable, what do you need to put in, helping you through that process. And then when you're ready to be introduced to investors, we introduce you to investors. When you start receiving term sheets, we help you negotiate. And we also have tremendous clout in the media, so we can also help you get the word out there about your company, your business, your product, etc. go do the 1M1M self-assessment on the website. This is a free set of questions that investors would ask you, but we want you to ask these questions of yourselves because you are the first and the most important investor in your company. You need to ask these questions of yourselves to develop your own strategy. If you get stuck in the methodology, if you get stuck in terminology, if you get stuck on questions that you cannot answer and you need to learn a particular methodology, go do 1M1M Basic. You can access the curriculum only for $99 a month. If you just sign up for 1 month and spend 50, 100 hours just doing intense curriculum, you will learn a lot. You'll be much better off just in terms of the basic framework of entrepreneurship. At any rate, go dig around on the website, understand what to expect from the premium program, from the basic program, and see if this program is for you. This program is largely for self-learners. And my take is that if you're not a self-learner, entrepreneurship is going to be very difficult for you because entrepreneurship is a self-starting, self-learning, self-motivated kind of game. And to be successful in that game, to be really good at that game, you need to be a self-learner. So it's designed for good entrepreneurs who can really learn a lot on their own, and we are here to provide you with, shepherd you along through that learning process, as deftly as possible. And we have a very different methodology, a very different belief system, a very different framework, pedagogy from most of the entrepreneurship education process out there. Most of what you will learn out there is very financing oriented, and we are not, so greatly financing oriented. Over 99% of the businesses out there are not fundable and will get rejected from investors. So you really need to learn how to build your business either without funding or without funding for the time being until you become fundable. And that's all factored into the way we teach you entrepreneurship. You'll find lots of video messages, FAQs, etc. Take advantage of all that and learn from it. It's a very much a case studies and video lectures based program. The case studies include over 750 successful entrepreneurs who have come and participated in our case study program, shared their knowledge, shared their lessons from the trenches, and they continue to do so. And we bring you that ability to directly interface with their knowledge, their journeys, their work, basically. And that is what gives you the opportunity to basically stand on the shoulders of people who have done it before, including over 50 unicorn entrepreneurs, 400+ venture-funded entrepreneurs, and 300+ bootstrapped entrepreneurs who've been all quite successful. The methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Even if you raise money, you'll have to bootstrap first, raise money later, and that's how the industry works. This is not our invention. It is aligned with how the market works today. And then you can look at our coverage of the members and how we give you publicity and so forth. So we have roundtables every week in June. If you want a slot, please book, please register to pitch on the website, and Maureen will get back to you with instructions. Make sure you book a slot. And that's pretty much it. We can go to Q&A. You can dial in. The slide with the phone numbers are on the screen. And you can also use public chat to ask questions if you like. Let me also introduce you to Irina Patterson. Irina will answer any questions you might have about the 1M1M program. Her email is irina@1mby1m.com. That's it, pretty much. Sanj Nandi is sending me a private message out. Thank you for our mission. Heartfelt thanks for your mission, truly inspired. You're very welcome, Sanj. I look forward to listening to your pitch at some point, if you decide to pitch. Anybody else? You don't have a company yet, Sanj? Are you just noodling the idea of being an entrepreneur? By the way, folks, I want to reiterate one thing I've said over and over, and I try to reinforce this every time. If you already have a job, or if you still have a job and you haven't jumped full-time into entrepreneurship and are kind of just testing waters, keep your job. We are big supporters of bootstrapping with a paycheck, whereby you start experimenting, start validating, and start your learning process with us while keeping your job so that the bills can get paid without causing undue stress. We are very, very big believers in bootstrapping with a paycheck if you need to follow that methodology. Anybody else? Questions, comments, issues, roadblocks? How can we help? No? Well, if nobody has questions, then we're going to wrap up and reconvene here next week. By the way, folks, one thing I want to point you to is our podcast channel. Maureen can provide you with the link to where you would find all the podcast information. We do have a new podcast channel now, newly launched, relatively recently launched. We launched in April. And it's a great thing to listen to if you're driving or commuting. It's wonderful to just turn on these podcasts and you'll learn a lot through that process. Himanshu Kumar, any suggestion how I can reach out to SMEs? SMEs for what, Himanshu? What do you want to do with SMEs? And SMEs where? I need a bit more color on your question to be able to answer it with any depth or clarity. Oh, mid-level experts. I didn't say necessarily SMEs. I did not say mid-level experts like SMEs. I said mid-level experts. They don't necessarily mean SMEs. In your case, for people who can interview on your behalf, you need to look in LinkedIn and find people who fit the kind of profile of experts that you're looking for, and then reach out to them and ask if they would be interested in joining your network for a fee. Not for free, but for a fee. Nikkitha Shanker is asking, as you suggested, how can we reach out to the ethnic groups? What would be the best way? They all have websites, Nikkitha. If you look at different areas in the U.S., where different regions in the U.S. where they have big Indian populations, like New Jersey, for instance, is a gigantic Indian population. So you can look for Gujarati associations and Tamil associations and Bengali associations in the New Jersey area. You can do that in the Bay Area, in Chicago, in Texas, Houston. These are big Indian communities, and you need to go group by group. And they all have websites. You can talk to people in those websites and figure out what programs you can do with them, what kinds of things, what opportunities they have for you to market to their audiences. They have lists. I don't know, each of them are different, I'm sure. Maureen is offering you the link to the podcast. It's a blog post that talks about the launch of the podcast channel. So take a look at that. Anybody else? Yes, no? All right, then we will meet you back here next week and we will continue working. Remember, this is a working session. We'll be here to work with you on your business and hope to move you forward from wherever you are. And we'll meet you where you are, no problem. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.